Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. So I brought my Beastmen out for a game for the first time in a couple months. Found a Lizardman opponent, and it's a younger player who wanted to put together a list that did not use a Slann, and so it's a combat-oriented list without a Carnosaur, and only one Stegodon. So kudos to him for bringing a very unusual Lizardman list, and I was excited to play it. We have a meeting engagement scenario, 2,400 points. If you're looking from right to left, he's got a couple units of skirmishing skinks, 3 Razordons, a block of 30-ish, maybe slightly less, Saurus warriors with spears, with 3 characters. The characters are unpainted. There are 3 black models in front. There's a BSB and then 2 Lord level characters. I didn't grab his list, and I don't remember exactly what they had, but they were both survivable and killy. So I don't know why everybody else can do that. I can't seem to do that with my builds. Anyway, then he's got a Stegodon and then some more skirmishing skinks. He's got 2 casters. Both are level 2. There's a single model behind his lines. The other caster and another unit of about 30 Saurus warriors did not make it on the board. So I think normally he puts a Lord level character in each of his Saurus blocks to give him a little more punch. But since one unit didn't come on and all his characters did, he decided to put them all in that one unit. So what I thought I would try was put both my Tuscarora chariots and my Razor Gores, represented by the Dragon Ogre models, to the right to handle his light troops over here. I don't need them messing around with my big blocks of troops and leading me around by the nose. So I've got 25 Gore here in the far left side. They're mostly unpainted. Then I've got another block of, I believe, 25 Gore. This one has a War Gore BSB. He has got a 2-up armor save, and then because of some gift, and then he's got the banner that gives the whole unit +1 strength. So this Gore is strength 4, which is nice. And then I have a Lord level character in there, and he's real fighty. It's kind of an unusual build. He's got a 3-up armor save, all of his armor piercing attacks, and every save he makes, he gets an additional attack. He also gets attacks against every model in base contact. And then I gave him Crown of Command. So he doesn't have the 2-up rerollable, which is better for that combination. But whatever, for this list, he had the Crown. So then I've got my Herdstone, and then singly behind it, I've got 2 level 1s, both with the Lore of Beasts. Then to the left, we've got a Best Gore unit, 24 strong, maybe 23. I've got a level 4 in the front right corner. He's got the Lore of Shadow, and is not carrying anything besides that. My 2 other casters, one has the Herdstone Shard, and the other one has a scroll. There's kind of some woods, and then to the left of it, I've got 6 Minotaurs, the Musician, and a Standard Bearer, just because I like them. So we'll go Lizardman turn 1. He moves up. He wants to get in combat, and he's got a lot of shooting, so he wants to get in range with that shooting. And over here, so he's got all those shots, and especially those 3 Razor Gore or Razordon or whatever the hell they're called. Anyway, it's amazing. I think he does 1 wound on one of my Razor Gore and kills maybe 4 of my Gore, and for the most part didn't do anything. I think he didn't even try against my chariots because I had a 4-up armor save. And over here, those skinks had a bunch of shots, but then I forgot that stupid Stegodon has 4d6 shots coming out of it. And with all that, I don't think he did any wounds. He may have done 1 wound on my Minotaurs. So just some really, really unfortunate shooting there. He decided to bring his unit of Saurus warriors here on the edge, and I think that was a real mistake because my Minotaurs can see them, and it's a very short charge, and they can just go straight and then wheel around that swamp. I think he was trying to get me to have to charge them and go through the swamp and take a bunch of dangerous terrain tests. But yeah, I mean, I just said, I'll just move straight forward and then do my wheel, and when all's said and done, I don't think anybody had to take a test. So anyway, so we go to Bretonnian turn 1. You'll notice both of my chariots are gone. Yeah, one of them charged his skinks. They did a stand and shoot and did all 4 wounds on it, killed it, and then the one to the right of it failed its panic test and ran off the board. So didn't love that. But my Gore get in with 1 unit of Skinks. Both of my Razor Gores get in with his, what I'm calling Razor Dons. And if I'm saying the wrong thing, forgive me. I just don't have the book in front of me. I wasn't anxious to get up real close with his, I mean, it's not really a Death Star, but with his Death Star unit. I mean, he's got 3 characters, and then he's going to be steadfast. So what I did was I maneuvered my Gore unit with my 2 characters such that he's most likely to charge them, and I've got the Crown of Command as long as I keep my General alive. And if they stick, then my Bestigor can charge him in the flank on the next turn. My Minotaurs easily get the charge on his guys. I think I'm going to kill a bunch and he's going to be steadfast, but I'm okay with that. If I'm in combat, he's not shooting at me, and it's going to get them nice and really worked up with their extra frenzy attacks. So there's some more. There's my 2 chariots that were off the board. And my Harpies came on. They're the only unit in the list that failed to be able to deploy during my deployment. So I brought them on. I'm hoping to get a flank charge on his Skinks, but he needs to move first for me to do that. If I don't get a flank charge, I'm probably not going to charge him and take a stand and shoot. So otherwise it looks like that. So after combat, my Gore unit easily beat his Skinks and just reformed. My Razor Gore charged his Razordon unit and got totally obliterated before they even did 1 single attack on him. It was crazy. Those guys right there are much tougher than I gave them credit for. Other things of significance that happened was during the magic phase, I lowered the strength of his core unit down 2, so on his turn he doesn't want to charge me now. And I got the +1 strength and toughness test on my Minotaurs, which made them more survivable. I don't think I killed any more because of it, but I may or may not have, but I certainly didn't take as many wounds as I otherwise would have. So we go to Lizardmen in turn 2. So now that his strength is down a little bit, he doesn't want to charge me this turn, so he backs his main unit up a little bit. Otherwise, he's just lining up some shooting on my rightmost Gore unit, and I'm okay. That unit doesn't, he can destroy that unit, and it doesn't affect me too awful much. Yeah, so that's what they're looking at. Over here, I think what he's doing with those Skinks is he knows that eventually my Minotaurs are going to beat his warriors and have to pursue them, and he wants the Skinks there to be able to shoot at them when that happens. I think. And over here, those Skinks, again, they don't move. He actually does offer me his flank a little bit, which I don't know if he was thinking about me making that charge, but these Harpies fly. It's actually a pretty easy charge to make into his flank. So after combat, so this turn, even with that buff, he does 3 wounds on my Minotaur, so 3 wounds after what he did last time. So anyway, I lost 1, another one sitting on 2 wounds. I killed a bunch. He was no longer steadfast, and I, of course, couldn't chase him. But somebody pointed out he's under 25%, so on my next turn I'm going to take a test to restrain from charging him, and just turn and face the rest of his battle lines. Here in the middle of the board, so I take my Generals and BSB's unit, and instead of charging his main block, I charge his Razordons in the side. That way they can't do a stand and shoot. And he held, I think he wanted to do a stand and shoot against the other Gore unit, but there was no need to charge him in. I didn't want to take a stand and shoot, and I don't need him to break that unit. I mean, this unit is our base strength 4, and it's got my Lord in there. I think I'll kill this unit. If not kill him outright, I'll beat him and chase him down and get out of the charge arc of his General's unit. So that's the plan. My Harpies easily make the charge into the flank of his Skinks. And he gets to go first. He killed 2 of my Harpies before I could attack. I think I killed 2 of his, and he passed on his break test. Over here, I passed my Minotaur's test. They don't have to charge, so they just reform to face his lines. I'll take his shooting. I mean, I don't need all of my Minotaurs to be very effective, and they already have +3 attacks, plus an extra hand weapon. So they're doing well. There's a nice blurry picture. One thing I've been doing, by the way, is I'm finally using the Lore of Shadow attribute. So I've already took my level 4 out of the Bestigor unit and replaced them with a level 1 when I thought they might get into combat. And now my thinking is, like, if my BSB or Lord gets in trouble, I'll put my level 4, I'll swap him out with them, and then hopefully get another spell out and swap him out for a level 1. So at least I'm thinking more about the Lore of Shadow attribute, whereas before I always forgot about it. So anyway, I left my Bestigors back because I don't want him to charge them because there's nothing to be gained from it. I think my General's unit is going to get behind him, my Minotaurs are going to be inside of him, and once I have them surrounded, I think I'll be able to charge with whoever I want to. So, and then I get the Purple Sun spell off. It looks like the BSB's dead. He's not. He just won't fit. He's top heavy. So all his characters survive, but I get that unit cut about in half, which makes them much, much less scary than they used to be. That unit actually doesn't scare me very much at all now. So after combat, I killed a bunch of them. He's got one more Razordon left, either sitting on a wound or sitting on 2 wounds. But he gets insane courage for his break test. And so I'm sitting there just primed for a flank charge by his general's unit, which I might be okay with because, again, I've got the Crown of Command. I think I'll be okay. But what I did, just in case, is I reformed so that his general's unit couldn't see me. Now that back row, I shifted all the way to the right because I believe in 8th edition, you don't have to take your casualties from either side until you get to only 1 rank. But if I played that wrong, please let me know. If it's a dirty cheating trick, I don't want to do it. But if it's legitimate to pull your casualties from wherever you want to, then I pulled them from the left side so his general's unit couldn't see me. So Lizardman turn 3, since he couldn't see me, he just kind of reformed and then shuffled over, brought his Stegodon around. You can see both his mages are sitting there on 1 wound. So he's looking like that. His skinks are lined up so that when my Minotaurs charge them, it'll get my guys away from his main battlefield. But I think he chose just to sacrifice them instead of maybe backing up so that if I charged, he could shoot at me. But if he backed up, I think I would have charged his general's unit. So did a little redirection there. This time after combat, my remaining Harpies break but do not run down his skinks. And my general's unit easily takes care of the Razordons, and they reform to face his main battle line. So, Bretonnian turn 3. I actually debated on whether or not to charge here, because if I just would have held up, just stayed where I was, he would have charged me on his turn, and then I have Crown of Command, and then I countercharge with my Bestigors next turn. But I didn't want to take the chance of anything weird happening, and I feel like the game's going my way, so let's just get in there and throw dice around. So I charged my general's unit in. Now, one thing I did is when I reformed last turn, I put my general on the far left. I'm sorry, I put my BSB on the far left and my general right next to him, because his characters are all on his far left. And so now none of his characters are touching my characters, and the only way they're going to have to fight each other is if I choose to accept a challenge with them. So Minotaurs going to these guys, that's going to be a gimme. Let's see, we charged the skinks, they got away. My gore unit charged the Stegodon, just hoping that if nothing else I could hold up, and so Stegodon can't countercharge in case things go wrong in the middle, and I failed the charge. And then I just moved my Bestigors up to provide some support. And at the end of combat, it looks something like that. So I think I reduced his weapon skill by 1, which was silly because it didn't do me any good, didn't do anything. And I've got some spell off on my unit, and I think it was a +1 strength and toughness spell. I'm not positive. I think that's what it is. But you can see very few of my guys are missing. That's why I'm thinking that's a spell that I got there. I'm going to challenge with, let's see, I think my general with his champion, and I killed him somewhere along the line. My general and BSB both have a wound. So Lizardman turn 4, Steg charges my gore unit. They stick around. Otherwise, really not a whole lot happening. He doesn't have a whole lot left. And so when I test for Primal Fury this time, I roll Snake Eyes. For the first time ever, I rolled Snake Eyes for Primal Fury. So now, none of my guys an extra strength. Remember, they start off with strength 4 because of the banner. Now they're strength 5, toughness 5, plus my characters are now ridiculous. And now they have frenzy and hatred. Yeah. So let's see. There's a close up on the left. He's using spellcasters to make sure my minotaurs can't charge him. His Stegodon comes in, kills a bunch of my guys. I'm steadfast and stick. And yeah, this was before we rolled anything except a challenge. We start off with my general against his general, and I kill him pretty easily. I think I did some extra wounds on him even. And yeah, and after that he just conceded because this whole unit was about to be wiped out by these frenzied uber strength, uber tough gore. So yeah, pretty decisive victory for the Beastmen. There's a lot that I can't convey in battle reports like this, like, you know, all the odd things that happened. His shooting was pretty ineffective. I got the spells I needed when I needed them, and the Herdstone Shard is just really, really nice for that. Allows me to, you know, just to get the 1 or 2 things that I need. A lot of times I was threatening Purple Sun. I only got it off once, and I didn't really care to use it a lot. What I wanted was for him to reserve his Dispel dice for that so that I could get my little spells off, and those little spells made all the difference in the world. But again, kudos to him for taking a very non-traditional Lizardman build, and you know, might play it again in the near future. Anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.